Well, I guess you're back from your lunch break or on your lunch break. Welcome to the masterclass. I've just been thinking around some of the things I could have for lunch this afternoon. Palm soup with some snails. Maybe not bad. I hear there's also peppered snails. What else? Light soup with snails.
Pizza snails.
Pizza snails.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know if you're having any for lunch, but we're going to be talking about snails, for that matter, snail farming, this afternoon on the masterclass. I hope you're ready with your notes and all. I was monitoring last week. I think I was moved by the 19-year-old who called into the program and said he was, sort of looking to listen to some music, and then he sort of tuned into Joy 99.7 FM, and then there was this discussion about snail farming, and just with 2,000 cities,
yes,
you can start a snail farm, and I just was moved by the fact that the young man was interested about this subject that we are going to be talking about today, especially during these times when there is youth unemployment. People are trying to figure out how to get jobs. You can start your own business or have this on the side if you already have a job. And so this is part 2 of our 13-week agribusiness series. This one tackling snail farming. We started last week with Felix Nyarko Appiah, who is Chief Executive Officer of Trisolace Farms. Welcome once again to the masterclass. My name is Daryl Kwawu. I'm in for Yalbana Fo, who is away for a couple of weeks. He'll surely come back to the program. We'll miss him so much. And so welcome once again to the masterclass. Today we are going to try to get your questions through, as many of them as well. So just stay tuned into the program. It's brought to you by Guel, Good Energy Guel, Yanara, and yeah. And so I want to just go straight to it because we don't have a lot of time.
Okay.
Felix Nyarko Appiah, Chief Executive, Trisolace Farms. For those tuning in for the first time, tell us about who you are.
Okay, thank you for having me as well, and it was quite interesting last time, and we hope to even make it better this time around. So my name, like you rightfully said, is Felix. I was born and raised in Kumasi. I have some of my roots in Ebri. So currently I'm also staying in Ebri, doing a 36-acre farm there. I studied engineering, but fortunate for me, or unfortunately, I didn't get any job. So I had to start up something on my own, and that sent me into snail farming. And I've been into it for 7 years now. We've had quite a lot of awards, competitions that we've won so far. At the peak of Trisolace, we're employing about 24 people, making it a worthwhile adventure, and then we're quite impactful. We're also very sustainable. We look at using other materials to help the environment as well, like snails eat household leftovers, etc. So that is also very lucrative in terms of feed. It cuts down feed costs. So yes, that's me. I'm a family man. I like staying in the bush. Ironically, people like luxury. I don't like luxury. I like to be in the bush. So
I don't mind so far as you're making money.
Yeah,
I don't mind being in the bush.
So now I'm in the bush. I'm in a breeze, staying there permanently, because I don't want to be an absentee farmer. So I'm there. So basically, that's in the nutshell, Felix. And I'm also a self-taught programmer. So we launched a project called agricgate.farm, which is a free learning platform that people can go there and learn anything agric, from snail farming, mushroom, beekeeping, anything at all. We did that as a corporate social responsibility on the company side as well.
Yeah, and you talk about how lucrative snail farming is. I this morning spoke with Kojo Yankton on the Super Morning Show. We're sort of discussing the program a bit, and he told me a story about some other lady he knows who started snail farming. Just take a listen.
Yeah, a friend of mine.
Okay.
A friend of mine started a snail farm in her backyard. Now she also owns a restaurant. So she started off just because she wanted to provide enough snail for her own restaurant. She has this particular item on her menu. It's like banku with oilless okra, and it comes with snails. And she's always had snail shortage. So someone suggested, look, you can do this in your back garden. And so she started. Now she supplies snail to other restaurants in Accra.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's lucrative.
It's good business.
Yeah.
Especially if you do it well. When she started, I think she didn't really have the know-how. So the first attempt failed. But she went, studied, figured it out, got it right, and now it's blowing up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Great,
What you
great.
make in comparison to what you put in is astronomical. It's very good business.
Now I want to venture into snail farming.
Yeah. If you do it well.
Okay.
So yeah.
Good business. And so as we start off the discussion, if you're listening, you have any questions, 0551111997 is our WhatsApp line. We'll be reading your questions probably later in the program. We will open the phone line so you can ask your questions as well. And so let's do a quick recap of what we discussed last week for the benefit of those tuning in for the first time.
Okay, so snails, basically, when you want to start, you're looking at location, you're looking at passion as well. Like they were discussing earlier, most of the products we do in Ghana do not have a market. But as a person, you have to create your own market or demand. So like she was doing, she created a restaurant and then used her own produce to fill that market, which is very, very creative and innovative in that space. So fortunate for us, Snail has a larger market, so we don't need to create a new market. So there's quite a laudable market for that. So when you want to set up, like they were saying as well, if you go solo or want to do it on your own, you might fail. There's quite a lot of knowledge bank out there. We do free training. There are a lot of other resources out there as well that help with the training. So if you get the training right, if you get the conditions right, which is the environment, the structure, you make it as secure as possible so that the snails cannot move out or escape, or other predators cannot come into the setup. And for feeding, they eat quite a lot, an array of a lot of things that you can give to them. So feeding cost is very low as well. Like he was rightly saying, the input as compared to the output is astronomical in terms of size. You put in quite a small amount, but the most important thing is patience or time, because you put in a lot of that, because snails take quite a long time to grow. So up to a year and a half. If you want to do the large ones that sell for quite a lot, up to about 20 cedis per one, that is about a year and a half. But the good thing is that unlike other animals, they do not require 3 times feeding, or you taking care of them like every time, microscope sort of taking care of them. No. So they are more like, once their conditions are good, you just give them food and apply a little bit of moisture and just let them be in the darkness and they are good to go. So I think last time we spoke about that, the conditions being that they do not like light, they are nocturnal, they are like cockroaches, they are like rats, they are like snails. Definitely they don't like light. So if you have a place devoid of light, that will be excellent. And they do not like a lot of wind. They are like your eyeball or other parts that are lubricated by your bodily fluids. They don't like a lot of wind going through that. So the same thing with snails. They are almost made of, their surfaces are made of water base. So they don't want places where it's very windy. So you shield them away from light and wind and predators as well. Humans are the most the people that can do the worst to snails, because we eat them. So we'll break into it and sort of steal it. So it has to be secured as well from humans. But the awesome thing is that snails do not make noise or smell. So unlike other animals that sort of announces themselves in the neighborhood, snails are discreet. They can be anywhere and then you can raise them very well. And when it comes to market, we always help clients to market their snails as well. We purchase back from clients with an outgrower scheme that we are running, where after we set you up and then you build and you are able to grow them, we buy back. And then we also have FDA approval to package snails in pouches, so that are ready to put in soups and sauces. So once you want to sell to us, you can reach out as well, and then we will package and then sell for you as well.
All right, so let's move on to today and what you want to share with us concerning snail farming. I want to start off with, yes, you've conceived the idea, maybe you are interested in snail farming, but I think the real challenge is also sustaining the the business or the operations of the snail farm, so that you can reap the profits of it. So talk to us about that to begin with.
Okay, so the aside passion, what I tell people is absentee farming is a no-no. I always say that. We've had a few clients who have had losses, massive losses. Imagine setting up like 39,000 CDs and you lose everything, because most of them are not in Ghana. They are either diasporans or not in Ghana at all, and they set up and give it to people that they think the people are not working and will take care of it for them, and the people are either working or don't really have time for the snails. So if you don't have time, then I would advise you don't go into it, because people have the notion that because they are small and they don't require too much care, you can just put them in there and leave them for a whole week, 2 weeks, and nothing will happen. No, something will happen. You actually lose a lot of your snails. So when it comes to setting them up, passion is one, and then two, time. You have to be available.
And what sort of time are you devoting if you talk about availability? You mentioned that they are nocturnal.
Yes, they are nocturnal.
And so do you have to be up in the evenings, or what do you
Okay,
have to do?
so in terms of time, I think 2 hours a day or an hour a day is ample time, especially if the conditions are good. You don't need to be there most of the time. But the bad thing is that one day maybe the gate blows open or one of your panel gets loose and they all get out. That's that minute that changes all the equation, and that's where you need someone to be there most of the time to be keeping an eye on them. So it doesn't require the person to be there like 100%, but still some care is very much needed. So worst case, an hour a day is very good. And you can feed them early in the morning or late in the night, and then change their water, change their feed, make sure the place is very clean, and they will really thrive.
Yeah, I think last week there was one person who called and said his father owned a snail farm, and the father lost virtually everything. And so what are some of the things that could cause you to lose your snails? I mean, if you are not devoting so much time to them, if you are not taking care of them, I mean, what could potentially happen for you to lose them?
Okay, so we do training. So like I said, trainings come with the do's and don'ts, what you are supposed to do on daily basis, your frequency of watering, your frequency of feeding, all that is in the training. But most people neglect it. They will just say, oh, I put the food in there, they didn't eat it, so I leave it overnight. But the food gets spoiled, it gets moldy. Molds or fungi also has its own infections that they give to snails. So we encourage people not to leave the structure open. If you leave it open, houseflies, there are houseflies that will lay eggs onto the snails. That will also help facilitate the larvae of the housefly by eating the snails. So you lose almost all your snails in a matter of weeks, because once one is there, they will grow in less than a week and also lay eggs onto other houseflies. So it's a ripple effect onto other snails, and it's a ripple effect, and you might end up losing all your snails. So leaving your door open or the structure unsecured is a no-no. Giving them food that is laden with a lot of pesticides. Ghana has a wild west when it comes to pesticide use. Some people buy pesticide that has Chinese written all over. They don't even read. They just pour in small and say, let me do all of it. And they pour all of it into a 16-liter thing and spray their watermelons and veggies. And you go and take that leftover and give it to your snails. And then you end up losing all your snails, because whatever kills centipede, millipede will kill a snail. Snails don't have vertebra or backbone. So whatever you are spraying to kill a cockroach will kill a snail. So people don't realize that, and then they go to get feed for the snails and don't go to good sources, and also end up losing all their snails. So there's quite a lot that can go bad. Snail is like driving a vehicle. It could go bad.
Experience yourself?
Yes. When I started in 2015, we lost all our snails. The first instant, it was 50. Wow. At the first time, and then we did 200 and we lost them again, and then we did another, I think 600, and then we lost about half of that.
Same reason?
Yes.
You didn't have enough time for them? Same
reason. At that time, I was also doing a lot of research, so I was going around gathering research, because there wasn't a body for snails. One of the downside with snail is that unlike poultry and other systems that they even have vaccines, snails do not have that. We do not have, our sector do not have that advanced system of vaccines, maybe diagnosis and veterinaries. We don't even have that. So all that we've been doing has been a lot of observation, a lot of investigation, and then we've also done research based on trial and errors. So we've had some success, but still there's quite a lot that is unknown as at now. So we tell people, once you come in and you do observation, you know what your snails are, because your temperature is different, your area, the conditions are different from my area. So once you study your snails and take good care of them, you are sure to win, definitely.
I know you said you need just about 2,000 to start a snail farm, 2,000 cedis, but how cost intensive is keeping the farm? For instance, if you're keeping like pigs, for instance, I hear the cost of feed is so expensive.
Exactly.
Is that the same for snail farming?
No. So I think the most expensive thing with snail is the patience that you give them. That's the most expensive. Your time is the most expensive part, because they eat cassava, they eat everything that we eat that is left over. You can give it to them. So even your rice without pepper and without the sauce, you can give it to them. They eat fufu, leftovers, they eat all that. So if you want to also do feed for them, you can do your normal maize granules and then put them together and give it to them like gari mix in that form, and just put it on there, and that is not expensive at all. And even with about 1,000 snails, they can go through a whole sack of maybe their feed in like 3-4 months, unlike other animals that can do that in a day. Some even eat in a day about a bag of feed, on that.
And still on the subject of sustaining the snail farm, so you don't have to import the feed as well. You can have everything here locally, right?
Yes, the good thing is that the components for feed for snails is so local and it's so good. You can source them locally. Just your normal maize, which you can find on the market. You can do cassava as well, cassava flour in exchange to maize, so making it even cheaper, because we can use cassava flour instead of maize flour, making it cheaper. And then you can have proteins like herrings, the head, the amane head. When they take it out, you can use that, grind that, and add it to your feed. You can also do granules, or you can do soya, which are all very local, and then you can source them anywhere at all, and they are not expensive at all to do. So you just take them to the normal nika as it's called, the corn mill, and then you get them together and you dry it and you give it to them.
So you've spoken about passion, you've spoken about patience. What else do you need to sustain the snail farm?
Okay, so you need a little bit of wits about you. You need to be observational. You need to write down some things as well. So when you put them in, how many months it has been, when did they start laying, you have to get some data as well, so that you will know for sure if you are making headway or not. Because if you look at snails, if you don't weigh them on periodically, weighing them like weekly, you wouldn't know that they are growing, because you see them every day and they are almost like the same. So unless you weigh them and say, oh, I weighed this one, it was 20 grams and now it's 25, I'm seeing improvement, you might get you might not really feel like you are making any impact on that. So keep data as well. That is very important. Data is key. Data is king as well. Yeah.
All right, you're listening to the masterclass on snail farming here on Joy 99.7 FM. Is part of a 13-week series, Agribusiness series, and so, well, after you've waited for a year or so for your snails to grow, now you have to think about marketing them. How viable are these snails on the market?
Okay, so we have 3 ways of selling our snails. So we do FDA approved pouches that we sell. That is the packages that we sell already. And then we do export, and then we do live snail sales. So the live snail sale, our outlets are mostly the market women, and we sell along the line of the dry season. So from September, October up to December. That's where there's very dry. There's almost no snails anywhere. So we actually dictate the market at that time. So we can do maybe 2x what it is now, or maybe 3 times what it is now, and then we sell to the market women, and they also make it available on the market, and also sell it for quite a hefty amount, which is good, because you've waited for a whole year and a half, and it's now time to reap, so your benefits. So that is one outlet, and then we do export. So we are one of the only companies that also do export of live snails to UK. So we do East London, which has a lot of Afro shops or local shops that people go to buy the Kobe, Momone, and all that outside Ghana. So we sell a lot of that to them as well. That is part of our revenue generation. And then we do the pouches. So for the pouches, we just take them out, sterilize them, make it as sterile as much as possible, and then put it in pouches and then sell to the outlets. So we have other people that buy and resell to hotels and do a sort of retail to all the hotels and eateries around. And the market for snail is enormous. So what you can do is just go to the market and ask about snails. They'll tell you, oh, there's only one woman that sells. She's not even here yet. You have to come on Friday or Saturday. Once you get there, ask her how much it is, and they will now give it to you like something that a collector's item. Like they are telling you how difficult it is now to get, because most of our snails come from the forest, and the forest is getting depleted every day. Our actions, expansion of human population is depleting the soil and the forest as well. So we are not getting snails. That's why we're encouraging more people to come into the production, because even the eateries alone, we haven't targeted even 10% of our market since we started. Yes, we haven't done 10% of our market before, because we this year alone we haven't even done export. The local was able to absorb everything. We don't have stock for till the end of the year.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how lucrative that is.
My question, how are you able to keep the snails fresh for the international market?
Okay, so it's we just do air freight. So next day delivery, they are in London. They just take them and then they don't stay for long in stations or in transport. So it's easy for us to do that.
Yeah, I want you to talk a bit more about the existing gap in the market, particularly the deficit identified by the CSIR and the Ghana Statistical Service, and how that presents a business opportunity for those looking to do something in snail farming.
Okay, so in Agric, there's something we call value chain. Value chain is where the lifeline of a product, where it starts from and where it ends, and everyone can plug into any of these value chains. So I tell the youth that if you don't feel like going to touch soil, you don't necessarily have to touch soil. There are people doing training, like CSIR, for instance, is doing massive training. They do trainings of 400, 500 people at a time, 200 people at a time, and then they let them get their own boxes and all the setup, and then you can start on your own. So you can also start training. You can get free training from us and use it as an opportunity to also learn more and impact knowledge on the people around you. Maybe you are not in Accra, you're outside Accra. You can start that by training youth so that they can start small farms at their wherever they are, So that's one value chain, the training. The second one is the setting up of the structures themselves. So people need others to take care of it. So we tell the youth that there's quite a lot of market out there. There are people that have money to go into farming but do not have the time. They are looking for very passionate people who want to stay on the farm to take care of them. And their salary ranges from anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 cedis a month, with full accommodation and other resources there, electricity, everything done on their farms. But they don't have people taking care of them. So that's another value chain that people can go into, that you have trained yourself in snails. You don't have the capital to start, but you can take care of somebody's snails whilst you also earn some income to you as well. And the other part is you can also process snails. So processing snail is also a heavy industry, where if you get even 2 restaurants that agree to take that, that's a lot of jobs on your hand, because people eat quite a lot, but they take it off the menu because the availability is not there. Today you come and they have snails, tomorrow you go and they say, oh, we are out of snails, and people get sad, by that. So if you are able to supply constantly to these avenues, that's also another multi-million-dollar project that you are looking at. And the other portion is selling snail feed. So you can also do feed. Like I told you, the components of feed is out there. But most people want to buy, ready-made feed because they don't have the time, or they don't want to go through that stress. So you can also do that and say, oh, I've now gone to FDA to do correct packaging, done everything, and then now I'm producing feed. That's about 5 value chains we've mentioned already.
5 value chains.
And then you go again into the raising of the snail itself. That's where you do the snails itself, and then the production itself and sell. And the snail shell is also a very good source of calcium, where it is used for animal feed. So someone also goes around picking snail shells from the market, from the people that are raising, and then use it for animal feed. Grinded calcium shells are very expensive as well. That is another market you can tap into. So the value chain is enormous, like I said. So there's quite a lot that people can do. You don't necessarily have to touch soil. You can also help other people market their snails by doing social media marketing on the side as well. So
right, Felix Nyarko Appiah, Chief Executive of Trisolace, here with us talking about snail farming on the masterclass. I hope you are learning a thing or two. We are going to take a short break. When we come back, you talk to us about innovations and how we can apply technology in snail farming. Also share with us some of your personal experiences and the lessons that you've learned on this journey and your prospects for snail farming here in Ghana. We want to invite you to be a part of this conversation. If you're listening, you have any question, maybe you want to start snail farm, you don't know how to start it, maybe you're already in the business, you're facing challenges. Well, Felix is experienced, so he can help you figure your way around it. The text line is 055-1111-997, 055-1111-997. That's on WhatsApp. We'll open the phone lines as well, 0302-216-541. That's if you want to give us a call and ask a question or two. This is the masterclass. Taking a short break. We'll be right back.
Your favorite on-air business development program, Joy Business Masterclass, is in session, and you can interact with us on Facebook via the Joy 99.7 FM or Joy Business pages. If you tweet, the handle is at Joy 997 FM or at Joy Business GH. Don't forget to hashtag JB Masterclass. You can also call us on 0302-216541 or send your questions and contributions through to the WhatsApp number 0551 111997, and our facilitators will address your concerns. Attention everyone, class is in progress.
And welcome back from that break. You're tuned into the masterclass on Joy 99.7 FM. Is a continuation of our 13-week agribusiness series. We've been tackling snail farming. We began last week. We are concluding today. In studio with me is Felix Nyarko Appiah, who is Chief Executive of Trisolace Farms. He's been teaching us a lot about snail farming. I think I'm getting interested as well. Perhaps I can start. I think somebody's asking a question about a backyard. We'll get to that because you can start from your backyard, right? Yeah. Yes. And so we are going to get into your questions very soon. 055-1111-997. That's for WhatsApp. 055-1111-997. Excuse my voice. And you can call 0302-216-541 if you have any question. The masterclass is brought to you by Gwell PLC, your CIMG Hall of Fame and 2022 Petroleum Company of the Year, has taken the lead again. Gwell has opened ultra-modern liquefied petroleum auto gas service stations. The modern auto gas service is safe, clean, and offers affordable alternative fuel for your vehicle. Look out for the Gwell Auto Gas Station in the following areas: Burma Camp Gwell Service Station Accra, Peshi Gwell Service Station Accra, Pedu Junction Gwell Service Station Cape Coast, Pitting Gwell Service Station Takrade, Kenton Kono, Goil Service Station, Kumasi, Goil delivering the safest and affordable gas at your convenience. Goil Good Energy, Goil And so I just want to tackle this question that has come through. If you could help me, Akofa. This one says, please can a backyard be a good place for keeping snails? That's Ebenezer from Gulf City. What do you say?
Yes, excellent. So, like I said, snails eat what we eat, so they are mostly like pets, but just that we're commercializing them. So our forte, what we did last year, for instance, that made us that revenue was also housing for snails. So we're building housing for snails in their where they live, their backyards, etc. So we're customizing structures that they could raise snails in commercial quantities. And you don't necessarily have to buy an expensive setup. You can start, like I said, with your chop box, some old fridge, anything at all that you can be innovative around. You can just go crazy on that and just build something. So far as it's secured, the snails cannot escape. It doesn't have wind going in. There's very little light. You're good to go.
How big should your backyard be? I mean, you don't need really.
No, snails are the most profitable farm animal per square meter. That means you can use just 1 square meter, like the chop box I was saying, to be able exactly to be able to do that. So it depends on how large you want to go.
Maybe
so,
you just want it for you
exactly.
And your family.
And if you want to, you can do vertical farming, where you can stack them on top of each other. That's also a very good way of saving space. So even if you have 1 meter by 1 meter, you put it on again, you have another structure like that till you reach a height that probably to be inconvenient for you to put on more.
How much does one big snail cost again?
So one snail costs about 50. Depending on the
50
size,
cedis.
50, and that is outside the soup.
Okay.
So a snail with a passport that is inside the soup will cost you around another 70 cedis, depending on where you are eating. So that's how expensive.
Well, I'm asking because of how much money I can make from a chop box full of snails.
Snail is like the most expensive protein because poultry, a whole chicken goes for about 80 cedis, but just one snail, which is around 200 grams, 300 grams, that's how much it's costing, about 80 cedis in soup.
All right, this next message I think is coming from Emmanuel Kwame Bludo. He's asking, how can we contact Felix or the process of training for them? You want to go through that?
Yes.
Your contacts, if there's any training available for anybody who wants to.
Okay, so the good thing is we don't want to take a monopoly on that, or we don't want to capitalize on it. We are letting the youth get free accessible education on snails, on everything agric. So you can go to agricgate.farm, where there's agricgate.farm. It's like agriculture, but it's agricgate.farm, and then you can start your free courses on snails, vegetables, anything at all that you want to start for free. So that's one avenue you can reach us and learn for free at your own comfort, at your own time. And the second option is you can call us on 0249 234 809 0249 234 809, and we'll give you free training. We promise not to take anything from you yet because you are not buying anything. So we give free training, and if you want to purchase anything, we're at your beck and call.
All right, this one from Kwesi, he's listening from AB. What about going the natural way, putting them in a box with black soil in it?
Yes, that's the backyard that we are saying.
Yeah.
So your chop box, you don't need to leave it like that. You have to put soil in there. You have to put snails. You have to put feed, and there are trout, something that you could put water in there as well. So, yeah.
All right, this one from Lisa. She's listening from Old Ashoman. Good afternoon. Very educative discussion ongoing. Please, what size of land would you need? Do you need a very big expanse of land, or just a small place would do? I think you've addressed that. But maybe just go over for her.
Yeah, a small space would do. So it depends on how large you want to do it. Your backyard is equally very good. You can do vertical farming to take advantage of a smaller space, and you can also, if you have a larger space, you can also expand. So that is all up to you. Your places that you've grown flowers, you can still inculcate snail in there without spoiling the flowers by giving them a secured place, and they will feel very good at home as well.
All All right. One more message. This one says, I'm around if we wish to get in touch with Felix to start a snail farming. That's Nane Kufu. I think Felix shared his contact. I'll make you do that before we end the show as well, just when anybody wants to reach out to you. We just have about 7 minutes. 05511119997. If you have any message, any question for Felix, 05511119997, or call us 0302216541. And so plenty I want to touch on before we go, because I don't know when we are going to have you next. And so I want you to briefly touch on the innovations in snail farm, including the use of technology for better farm management and productivity.
Okay, so we are pioneering snails. We, like I said, when we started, there wasn't any authority on snails, so we had to do our research from scratch. We've inculcated mist sprayings. So mist sprayers are like the fire hydrants that when there's a fire, it comes on by itself. So we are also doing automation in terms of moisture control. We are also putting in water troughs that are fully automated. We are also doing thermal cameras. So if you want to count your snails without actually counting them in a more high-tech way, you can do other setups as well. So we have also modified our structures. So currently we have structures that are thermal resistant. That is, it has thermal properties so that heat cannot go out and heat cannot come in. So we have innovated in that respect when it comes to the snails.
I think there's one more question I want to bring in from one of our listeners, Norris. He says, what variety of snail is the best?
Okay, so there are three main varieties of snails in Ghana. The most viably commercial, or the most commercially viable snail, is the AA, which is achatina, or the ones we call nwapa. So when you go, they say, oh, you hear people say, hey, wait a minute, is the black one. This is
Which
that.
Which one is the meaty one?
So the meaty one is the AA, the nwapa.
Okay.
Yeah, that is, it has a green, a yellow hue around it, and it has some markings around it that makes you know that is a nwapa. The other one is dull looking. It has is mostly black, but the nwapa meat has gray and black dots all on the meat itself, and then the shell has a mixture of black, yellow, and some orange hue around it as well. So
okay, talk to us about, I mean, because you say you live in the bush, right? About expanding snail farming to urban areas. I mean, we've talked about backyard farming. People can do it, but how can you also expand into urban areas?
Yes. So we know that every space in we did a survey and saw that every household in Ghana has about 5 meters squared of space just sitting that we either pay people to weed or we use it for flowers, basically. So we are helping people utilize those spaces by helping them monetize those spaces by putting in structures that can help people raise commercial quantity snails. So we've already started that. Just that currently in this year we are booked for the whole year. In all honesty, we are booked. So if anything at all, we can help you set up your own structure, or possibly next year then we can help you with your expansion in urban areas.
I mean, you have a vision for snail farming, so I want you to share with us what you think is the future of snail farming in Ghana, including your goals for scaling up production and reaching new markets.
Okay, so in terms of production, what we are looking at currently, we are a company that is very viable and sustainable, so we don't require too much more from the people. But what we are now doing is corporate social responsibility mostly. So imagine if you grow one tree of pepper like this at your backyard, you're going to have pepper for the rest of the year. The same thing, if you have a protein pack like the snail structure, you're going to have protein for all the year round. So even if every day you are putting in maybe every week 2 of your snails, eating your capital slowly, then at the end of the year, you are looking at you putting on very good, you are getting very good protein. So our vision is to create a sustainable protein source for Ghanaians. Because in the olden days, snails were picked at the backyard. And it was very lucrative. People were picking it and eating it. But now, there isn't any protein source outside your house unless maybe mice, if you want to eat mice. So we want to be the pioneers for people to start their own backyard farm one man, one backyard farm, which is a protein pack
that
that
sounds
you
like
can.
a campaign promise.
Yes. Now I'm also throwing a few campaign promises out there. So one man, one backyard farm. That would be an excellent point, and people can do that and then raise money or use it personally. And those that have health issues can also use it in terms of getting themselves healthy in terms of eating wise. So that could be a promise for the future.
We have barely 2 minutes. Senor is listening. I think your hot cake this afternoon. He wants your contact. Senor, he's going to share it before the show closes. Hi, Masterclass. I'd like to know if he wants investors. If so, what's the guarantee that I'll get my money back? I invested in US tilapia and lost my money. I don't know if you're looking for investors, but I'm sure that if you want to invest, there are opportunities to invest in snail farming.
Yeah.
And he wants assurance that he'll get his money back because he invested in US tilapia and he didn't get his money back.
We are a legal entity. We have our legal team. So always, like I said, we've acquired a 36 acre. We want to expand beyond that. So we are still looking for investors, but it has to go through the legal route. So you can reach out to us and then we will get you in touch with our legal team. If you look at the terms and conditions and you're okay with it, then we can start business.
So there are opportunities to invest. You don't necessarily have to own a farm.
No. So that's the good thing. That's the good thing is that you can invest in other people's farm and share profits with them, which is a very easy way for you in Accra or in your business to do additional revenue generation on the side as well. Yeah.
How much are we looking at?
Well, we as a company, we are not looking at anything less than 200,000 cedis because we are doing on a very, very large scale. We don't want a situation where people will be coming with small, a lot, and then you have to give a communicate to everybody or something like that.
Okay, so, I've got to go, but please mention the 3 varieties again.
So there's AA, which is Achatina or Enwapa. There's AM, which is Achatina marginata. And then there's AF, which is Achatina fulica. So the one that we see in our house that you see every day, that's called 80 or the Heliciculture.
Like
the one,
8?
Yeah.
French?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
The small ones that they find around, that one is edible. All snails
edible.
with shells.
I always have a feeling it's not edible.
All snails with shells are edible.
Okay.
But like every other thing that is walking on the ground, you have to cook it very well before you eat it. That's why every day you hear the US saying that snails have meningitis because they eat beef with blood in there as rare, semi-rare, and cooked well and all that. But we cook our food for 30 minutes, 20 minutes. So yes, all snails with shells are edible. But the most commercially viable one are the ones that we sell on the market called the AA, which is the Nwapa, the one we call Nwapa. There's a one we call the Nigerian one.
By the way.
Yes. There's a Nigerian one as well. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. I absolutely appreciate your time with us here on the masterclass. I believe people are learning so much based on the questions that people have been asking. So I want you to tell us how we can reach you, phone number, because many people have been asking for it. I'm sure people are interested.
Yes. So if you want any resources, you can go on our website, trisolacefarms.com. Or if you want training, you can go to the agricgate.farm platform for free. And then you can also reach out to us on our social media platforms at Trisolace Farms, TRISOLACE, Try and Solace, like Trident and then Solace. So Trisolace. So that is also our platform. And then you can call us work hours only, 0249 234 809, and we'll be more than happy to assist you.
Thank you so much, Felix Nyarko Appiah, CEO of Trisolace Farms. I'm sure we'll have you sometime soon.
Sure.
On any of our platforms, I believe. It's been very educative. We learned a lot, and so you can get in touch with him. He's giving you his contacts. I'm sure he'll be helpful to you. Thank you so much for listening to the masterclass. You can always go back and listen because we streamed on Facebook. And somebody asking for the name of the guest we had 3 weeks ago, I believe it's Manya. The producer will get you the details. Absolute pleasure to have you in studio. Thank you so much. My name is Daryl Kwawu. The masterclass returns next week. We are going to start a discussion on fish farming. Looking forward to that as well. And so make a date, Wednesday 1:15 here on Joy 99.7 FM. Thanks. That's a masterclass. Goodbye.